Hello friend, welcome to the core foundations of R software, and from this lecture we are going to begin with a new topic, and all these topics are going to be related to the management of data. You know, this R software is useful for computation, simulation, as well as managing the data sets. So, what really happens that when we are trying to handle the databases, then many times we have to manipulate them, and also when we are trying to do our computation, simulation, etc., many times we also need to generate a particular type of values. Now, beginning in this direction, we are going to start our topic on sequence. So, in this lecture and in the next two lectures, I am going to talk about sequences. So, now if you try to understand the literal meaning of a sequence, what is that? Sequence is some arrangement of numbers in a particular, in a proper way, which is predefined. That means you need to define the way you want to arrange your numbers in a particular fashion. So, how to do all these things in the R software, that is our main motive in this lecture, and in the further lectures I will try to take some more operations and topics which are related to the sequence of numbers. Now, there are many operations which are possible in the sequence. So, how to get it them, and some of the most representative examples which are quite popular and more useful, I will try to explain you with the help of several examples. So, let us try to begin this lecture and try to understand how you can handle the sequence in the R software. So, now if you try to see here, what is a sequence? So, sequence is essentially a set of related number, events, movements, or even items that follow each other in a particular order, particular fashion, particular way. And the usual regular sequences can be generated in R without any difficulty. And the command to generate such sequences is seq. And inside the parenthesis, you have to write the different types of values, parameters, and related options. Now, there are many options in this syntax seq, all in lowercase alphabets, but I am going to consider here some popular options which I personally feel that they are going to be useful when you are trying to handle the numerical values. So, now if you try to see, one of the basic operations in the sequence will be that you would like to fix that what is the value from which the sequence should start. And in order to control it, we have to give here an option here like this inside the parenthesis from, and then from equal to whatever value you want. Here I am writing 1, but you can write anything which is allowed. And then you would like to fix that how long the sequence will go, that means the what should be the last value of the sequence. So, that can be controlled by this option here 2, TO2. And you try to write down here 2 is equal to whatever the value you want. Here I am writing here 1, but you can choose anything. So, this from and to, they are going to control the starting and end point of the sequence. Now, the usual way in which the sequence is going to progress is by one unit, like as 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Now, you have different options that you can choose. The sequence should be like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., or like 1, 3, 5, 7, etc., or this can be something else, whatever you want. So, basically if you try to see, you need to inform here somewhere between the two numbers that how the sequence should progress and by what value it should increase. So, in order to control this jump, we have an option here by, by, and then we try to define here the value by which the sequence has to progress more. The usual way in which it will progress, that is defined by the value at to, value at from divided by length dot out minus 1, right. And then means there are some other option like length dot out length out along with along dot with etc. And there is a long list of such options. So, I will try to consider here a couple of examples, and through which I will try to show you that how these options can be used, but I would request you that please try to look at the help on this topic sequence SEQ and try to understand that how the things are going to actually work. And if you try to look into the help sequence, you will get here this type of say screenshot, and then you can see here there are many details of various operations in the sequence. So, this exercise as I am leaving up to you, and I request you once again that you please at least try to read that what are the different options. I am not asking you to remember each and everything always, but at least once you read it, you will come to know that what are the different possibilities, and based on that whenever you need them, you can look into the help and can get the right syntax. But now let me try to take here some examples, and through those examples I try to show you that how the outcome in a sequence can be controlled depending on your wish, depending on your requirement. So, one point which you have to keep in mind is that the default increment in the sequence is +1 or -1, 1 unit, either positive or negative. And in case if you want to generate such a sequence where you want to make an increment or decrement of 1 unit, then you have to write here like this SEQ, and then inside the parenthesis you write here from equal to whatever value you want from where you want to start the sequence, and to T0, and then you try to write down here 2 equal to whatever point up to which you want to have the sequence. So, for example, I want to have here a sequence like 2, 3 and 4. So, you can see here this is my beginning point and this is my end point. So, this beginning point will be indicated by the option from, and end point is going to be indicated by the option 2. So, I can write down here from equal to 2 comma 2 equal to 4. Please understand I am saying here TO2, not 2 like this number. And yeah, this you have to be watchful during the entire lecture, that in case if I am using the 2 like TO2 or T002 or the number 2, my audio is always going to be only 2. So, just be careful, watchful. So, now if you try to execute this command here, it will give you this type of outcome 2, 3, 4. And it is not a condition that the value which has to be given in the from is always have to be smaller than the value which is to be given in the to command. Even if you want to have a sequence like 4, 3, 2 which is decreasing by 1 unit, you can also write here SEQ, and inside the parenthesis from equal to 4 and comma then TO2 equal to number 2. And once you operate it, you will get here a value like here 432. And in this sequence command, it is also possible that the values which you are going to consider in the from and to option, they can be negative also. So, if you try to see here, I want to generate here a sequence which is beginning from -4 and then it is coming up to +4. So, for that I try to give here a command SEQ, and inside the parenthesis I try to write from equal to -4, then comma, and then TO2 equal to 4. So, now what will happen? This sequence will start from -4 and then there is a difference of 1 unit and the sequence will progress further, like as -4, -3, -2, -1 and 0, and then after that 1, 2, 3, 4. So, this -4 is corresponding to this from, and this 4 is corresponding to this option 2, right. And here you can see this is the screenshot here. So, before I move forward, let me try to give you here these examples on the R console here, so that you can understand that what is really happening and how it will look like. So, I try to write down here sequence from equal to 2 and say here 2 is equal to say here 6. So, you can see here this is giving you here 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right. And one option I would like to show you here is that even if I try to write down here SEQ and simply I try to write down here 2 comma 6, still I will get the same outcome 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, in this command seq, the first value is the default value for from, and the second value after comma is the default value for the option TO2, right. But my advice to you all will be that always try to write the complete command so that you will understand, and then there will be no confusion. But I leave this decision up to you. Now, in case if I want to have a sequence which is beginning say from say here 6 and it is going up to here 2, then I have to write from equal to 6 and TO2 equal to 2. And you can see here this is here 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Right. And the same thing also you can write like as here sequence seq 6, 2, and it will give you the same outcome. And similarly, if you want to have a sequence which is beginning from say -6 and it is going up to say 6. So, I can write down here from is equal to -6 and TO2 is equal to 6, and this outcome will be here -6, -4 up to here. So, now you can see that it is not a very difficult operation to do, and now I am sure that you will be confident that when I am trying to show you these operations on the computer screen and in the slides, you can believe that yes, this is going to work. So, now I try to take here one more operation that I want to generate a sequence with constant increment, and my objective is that I do not want the default increment. And suppose I want to generate a sequence which starts at 10 and this ends at 20, and the increment in the values is of 2 units. So, you can say like here 10, 12, 14 up to here 20, like this one. So, now how to define this sequence in the R software? So, you can write down here seq and then from equal to 10 and TO2 is equal to 20, and then after the comma you write here by, and by you can write down here 2, because this 2 is corresponding to this increment of 2 units, and similarly this from is corresponding to this 10 and 2 is corresponding to this value 20. So, now this is going to generate a sequence like 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20. So, you can see here from this 10 it adds here 10 plus 2, then 12 plus 2 14 and so on, and this operation will continue up to here 18 plus 2, but then as soon as you reach to the 20 the R will stop here, right. So, that is not a very difficult thing. Now, similarly I want to have a sequence which is decreasing. So, suppose I want to begin a sequence from 20 and I want to end here at 10 and I need a decrement of 2 units. So, it will be like 20, 18 etc. up to here, see here 10. So, I use here the command seq, and inside the parenthesis I write down here the from will be say 20, then TO2 up to here 10, and then now because I want here a decrement, so I try to give the value of by as -2. So, plus 2 will indicate the increment and -2 is going to indicate the decrement, and if you try to do it you will get here the values like 20, 18, 16, 14, 12 and 10. So, you can see here 20 to -2 is equal to 18, then 18 minus 2 is equal to 16, and up to here this will continue here 12 minus 2 is equal to 10 and so on. So, once again you can see it is not a very difficult operation, and now I try to give you here one more option where I want to show you that this decrement is not only an integer value, but that can be a fractional value also. That can be a fractional value as well as that can be a positive as well as negative value. So, now you have here different types of choices that you want to increase or decrease your sequence by any value, right. So, for example, if I want to generate a sequence starting from 3 going up to -2 and I want a constant decrement of 0.5 units, right. That means the difference between the two consecutive terms should be 0.5 and the sequence has to be decreasing, that when the values are decreasing. So, I try to give this command here, say here seq and then from 3. So, this is coming from here, then TO2 which is coming from here -2, and then because there is a decrement of 0.5 units. So, I try to write down here by is equal to minus 0.5, and now what will happen? The sequence will start from 3 and then it will be 3 minus 0.5, this will come out here 2.5, and then once again 2.5 minus 0.5, and then 2 to 1.5 will become like 2 minus 0.5 and so on. And this value will continue until you reach to the value minus 2, which is here. And if you try to do it in the R console, you will get here this type of screenshot. Right, now I try to give you here one more option, that you simply know that I want to have a sequence of predefined length. That means you know that how many elements you want in the sequence, and you simply know one of the values, either to or say from, and suppose just for the sake of simplicity I will say that we want the default increment of +1, right. So in such a case what you would try to do, suppose I try to generate here a sequence that goes up to the last points, say here 10. So that means before that I want here 10 values. So they will become here 9, 8, 7 and so on, and the sequence is going to stop here somewhere as soon as you get the 10th value. Now if you try to see that without doing any manual calculation, you can generate this sequence in the R software by using the command seq, and inside the parenthesis you write here TO equal to 10 and then LENGTH, that is the length, and this is actually the length of the sequence or the number of elements you want in the sequence. So that is going to be here 10. So what will happen here, that as soon as you execute you will get here this type of outcome, and if you try to see here the last point, this 2 here is like here this 10, and then after that you come here, this is my first value, this is my second value, this is my third value, this is my fourth value, this is my fifth value, this is 6, this is 7, this is 8, this is 9, and this is my here 10th value. So this 10 is corresponding to this 10, which is the length of the vector or length of the sequence. Okay, so you can see here these things are quite easy to do, and similarly I try to take here one more example where you know that you want to generate a sequence of the length 10, but you want to start from 10. Means earlier your end point was 10, but now I want to have the starting point as 10. So if you try to write down here, say SEQ, inside the parenthesis you write from is equal to 10 and the LENGTH all in lowercase alphabet, length is equal to 10, and as soon as you execute it you will get here this outcome. So if you try to see here, this is beginning at 10. So this 10 is corresponding to this value here from, and now this is my here first value, 11 is my second value, 12 is third, 13th is fourth, 14 is fifth, 15th is 6th, 16th is 7th, 17th is 8th, 18th is 9th, and 19 here is the 10th value. So this 10 is corresponding to this length 10, right. So there are 10 elements in this sequence and which are beginning at 10. So you can see here it is not a very difficult thing to generate such a sequence in the R software. And now I try to take here a combination. This combination is I want to generate a sequence of predefined length which has a constant fractional increment. So now you know that you just have used this command here where you have used the sequence command with from and length. So now in this command I will use here the command here by, this option here by. So suppose I want to generate a sequence which starts at the value 10 and it has 10 number of elements, and these numbers are going to be increasing by the fraction of 0.1 length. So I have to write here from is equal to 10, LENGTH length is equal to 10, and by is equal to by is equal to 0.1, and this will give you here this type of outcome. So you can see here this is beginning at 10, so this corresponds to this from 10, and now this is my first value, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, this is sixth, this is seventh, this is here 8th, this is here 9th, and this is here 10th value. So this 10 is going to be corresponding to this length 10, and the difference between the two consecutive terms, if you try to see, suppose for example 10.4 minus 10.3 is 0.1. So this is corresponding to this by. So this is how you can generate the sequence without any problem. And similarly, if I want to generate a sequence just like what we have done, but I want to have a constant decrement. So I want that the length of the sequence is predefined and there is a constant decrement. So I can use either from or to, whatever you want. So suppose I want to generate a sequence here which is beginning from is equal to 10, and it is going to have 10 values in the sequence. So I can write down here month is equal to 10, and now what about this by is equal to minus 2, because I want here a constant decrement of 2 units, right. This is here decrement of 2 units. If you want to give something else, that also you can give. So this is going to give you a sequence like a 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, minus 2, minus 4, 6, minus 6, minus 8, and you can see here these are the 10 elements. This 10 is corresponding to this from, and this number of elements, this is corresponding to here this command here length is equal to 10, and the difference between the two consecutive terms is say 2 units, and they are decreasing. So this is by is equal to minus 2. So now you can see here it is not a very difficult thing. Now in the same example, suppose I want to make a constant decrement, but that is not an integer, but it's a fraction. So how to do it? Now you know. After this, I'm sure that you have understood how the things are working, and you can use your this common sense also to make different types of combinations. So you can see here, now I want to have a sequence which starts at the value 10 and it has 5 elements. So the command for length length is equal to 5, and I want here a constant fractional decrement of 0.2, right. So I can write down here by is equal to minus 0.2. So what will happen? This sequence will begin at 10, and then there is a decrement of 0.2. So this will become a 10 minus 0.2 is equal to 9.8, and this will continue. So this will be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 5 values, which is controlled here by the command length is equal to 5. So you can see here it is not a very difficult operation, and you can see here if you try to do it on the R console, you will get here this type of outcome. So now let me try to show you these things on the R console, and I will try to inform you here that here I have taken the example using the from, but you can also take it here too, and there can be many combinations which actually you can do here. So for example, if I want to generate here this type of sequence which is beginning from 10 and then going up to 20, and there is a constant increment of 2 units. So this will look here like this. Now in case if you want to have here the constant decrement, so you simply have to write here by is equal to minus 2. So this will decrease every term by minus 2. That is like this. You can see here this is wrong. Why? That now you have to understand. Because if you try to see mathematically, how can you start a sequence from 10 going to 20 and this is going to be decrement? This is a mathematical contradiction. So I wanted to show you just that you have to think before you create a sequence. But now in this case, if you try to write down here, you want to begin the sequence at 20 and you are going up to 10, then it is going to be a decreasing sequence, right? And you can see here this is going to give you this value. There is no issue, right? Now similarly, if you want to have a sequence say starting from here 10 and going to suppose here up to 12, and you want a constant increment of say fraction say 0.2. So you can see here this is here like this 10.0, 10.2 up to here 12, right? And similarly, if you want to have here a decreasing sequence, so decreasing sequence is starting from 12 and it is going up to 10, and the decrement here is by 0.2 units. So if you try to see here, this will give you here this type of command, right? And now after this we try to take here these commands here where we have some defined here length. So if you try to see here, suppose I want to have a sequence of length 10 which is beginning at 10, then I have to give here T0 is equal to 10, and this you can see here these are my 10 elements. Similarly, if you want to start here a sequence in such a way that ends at 20, then you can give here 2 is equal to 20, and then the length is going to be here 10, and you can see here that will start at some number, but the end point is given here by 2. And similarly, if you want to have here some constant increment or decrement, so you can see here you can give here say constant increment is supposed by 2. So you can see here this is ending at 20, but now this is giving you here 20, 18, 16 up to here 2, because this is the length of the data vector which is giving you here the 10 elements in the data. Now suppose if I try to use here by is equal to minus 2, let us try to see what happened. Yeah, that works. Why? Because your this 2 here is 20. So this is fixed, and you are simply trying to ask here that you want 10 elements, and which are such that they are in the decreasing and the number of total elements in the vector should be 10. So, this starts at 20, then 22, 24 and then it ends here 38. Now, in the same command, in case if I try to change this value up to here to some fraction here, say 0.5. So, I want to begin my sequence at some point so that it is ending at 2 and I need here 10 number of elements in my sequence which are at a constant increment of 0.5. So, you can see here that the final value here is 2.0 and after that the values are coming here in this direction and the total number of values are here 10. And in case if you want to have a constant decrement, then you can give here the option here by is equal to minus 0.5 and you can see here these values are here, right. And now similarly as you have used here 2, I can also use here from, say sequence from is equal to suppose 5 and I want to give here length is equal to 10 and I want to increase it by 2. So, you can see here you can also use here from, and this increment that can also be decrement. So, if you try to give here the by equal to here minus 2, this will give you here this type of decrement, and similarly that can also give you here constant increment or decrement. So, if you try to take a constant increment in the same sequence, you can see here it is here like this, and if you want to have here the constant decrement here which is here like this. So, you can see here all sorts of combinations are possible in this R software to generate different types of here lengths, right. So, there should not be any problem in now generating a particular type of sequence that you want. So, now we come to an end to this lecture and you can see here my objective was very simple here. I have used only here one command SEQ, but this sequence command has many applications. But how are you going to control the parameters so that you get the outcome of your requirement? That is a judgment which you have to take, right, and that is actually according to the need what you have, but according to that you have to choose the correct value of the parameters from, to, by, etc. And besides these things there are many more possibilities and options. So, you can choose any 2 or 3 combinations and that will give you a different types of sequence. So, I would say why do not you go in the other way, that you try to understand what these parameters, these options are doing, how they are working, and then you try to take a particular sequence and see how you can generate it. That will be a very interesting exercise. So, you try to practice it and I will see you in the next lecture with more options on this sequence command. Till then, goodbye.